So for the next 2 hours or so, we're going to go over hand calculations of a fairly typical two-way post-tension slab. This is going to be a lot of numbers, a lot of calculations by hand. Obviously, a lot of you are going to use, or most of you are going to use software to design post-tension slabs. But hopefully this will give you a good idea of what the software is actually doing. And if you see something that looks odd, you have a baseline to figure out if, the software is wrong or you inputted something wrong. You can see where that is coming from. So my email address is on the bottom. I realize I'm going to throw a lot of stuff at you. If you do have questions after the presentation, please email me and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. The book that my business partner and I wrote a few years ago, is Post-Tension Concrete Principles and Practice. Basically, we use this book to teach undergraduates concrete at UCLA and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I also know it's used at several other colleges. But basically, the first half of this book is going to be the undergraduate course. The second half is the real world examples, or what we do in industry. There is a lot in there about two-way slabs in theory, two-way slab design, podium slab design, which are typically two-way slabs, and detailing issues. So if this is of interest to you, there is a lot of good information and also a lot of good real-world pictures to hopefully highlight what exactly we do with two-way slabs. So in general, two-way slabs can be used for pretty much any application: parking, hotel, office, building, apartments, storage facilities. I mean, whatever you have, a two-way slab is usually can do it. Typically, the columns are in a rectangular pattern, and while there is no code hard and fast rule that it has to be 2-to-1 or 1.5-to-1 or something, you can make anything a two-way slab. Now, obviously, the more rectangular you get in the long sense, the more inefficient it is. But in general, typically a 2-to-1 ratio is what we kind of use. Obviously, for a two-way slab, there's no long supports, no long walls, no beams. Everything on the slab spans to the columns, and the columns support it without any additional support. Obviously, the name two-way means we design in two directions. Now, we always design in two directions, even in a one-way system. But obviously, in a one-way system, the slab goes, let's say, east-west, and then a beam goes north-south. So they're, two-way, but it's two different elements. In this situation, the slab works in both directions. As I mentioned just now, the one-way slabs are usually designed for strength in a single direction, and then due to their aspect ratio are for temperature and shrinkage in the others. For the most part, the columns are designed primarily for axial load. Now, you will get some conditions where there's some decent moment, like a corner or an edge condition if you have a long span. But for the most part, there's minimal moment transfer relative to a beam and girder system. So basically, it's a axial load design with a little moment there, but nothing that usually controls the rebar like it would in a beam design. Now, shear is always the Achilles heel of concrete. I don't care if it's one-way slabs, beams, girders, two-way slabs, or anything flexurally. I think we have more strength than we can even account for numerically, but our weak link is always punching shear. Now, beams, one-way slab is beam shear. For two-way slabs, typically it's punching. So punching is usually the thing we want to focus on quite a bit to make sure the system is safe, because again, that is our Achilles heel. Typically, two-way slabs are best used for uniform type loading. If you have like say a podium structure or something that's supporting a transfer building on top of it, let's say you have 3 levels of parking and then, 5 stories of steel office building on top. Two-way slabs aren't really good for large isolated post loads. Now, if it's 2 or 3 kips, no big deal. 30, 40, 50 kips, that becomes kind of a problem, primarily because the tendons cannot be draped efficiently for a post load. The section just isn't deep enough. So if you have, a bank vault or a bank situation where you have one large vault with a very large post load or 4-point loads, maybe you need some beams of those localized areas. But in general, because of how we drape the strands and the relative thinness of the section, typically a uniform type loading is the best application. Now, this is just a generic view of between the difference between one and two-way systems. Obviously, if this is a one-way system, you have a long spanning beam. The slab goes one direction to the wall, and then the two-way action comes from a beam element. But however, in a two-way slab, any load that goes here will go down and to the right, or up and to the left, but obviously it has to go in all four directions. So it's the same general design philosophy. The loads don't change. There's no massive difference in analysis for the most part. However, the big difference is you're designing the slab in two directions instead of two different elements, and punching shear is the controlling shear equation.